And what a wonderful day it is that we get to share with each other once again. So today I'm going to kind of ramble and touch upon a few different things, some interesting facts about certain things, as well as some good knowledge about everything that I mentioned. Last time we met, we talked about fat. There's good fat, there's bad fat. The brown fat is considered good fat, the white fat, bad fat. When there's too much fat, the hormones are kind of rogue. So that will allow the fat cells that produce hormones to produce bad hormones. Hormones are messengers. That means they're sending bad messages. When you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, you have metabolic symptoms going on in your body. Face it, you are a mess because those things have to definitely be kept under control. The excess fat will just exacerbate everything and make it worse. Exacerbate everything and make it worse than what it is. And that's when we've let our fat get out of control. So we have to monitor because we get to make the decision of how much fat we produce. But without fat, we do not exist. So it serves a positive role as well as a negative role. But with all things, you already know too much of anything is not good for you. So, with that in mind, we make sure that that fat stays with that understanding. Too much is not good, but we all need a little to stay healthy. So, that's where the focus needs to be when it comes to this fat thing. There's a lot of dynamics to it. Of course, it's all pretty much controlled by your eating. Very few genetic issues with that, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any. So here's an interesting thought or interesting thing to think about. The word avocados, if you know what it means, it's a South American word that means testes. It represents testicles because it grows in pairs. Carrots. We know carrots to be yellow or orange, but originally carrots were purple with an orange inner filling. Orange came because of different agricultural techniques used upon it. And so now we're mostly familiar with orange carrots, but if you look hard enough, you will still find carrots that are purple. So, in earlier lectures, I talked about that the color of fruits and vegetables represent nutrients contained within them. So the purple carrots carry the same thing that blueberry, that blueberries carry. Simply because of the color. So that's what makes color important. So as we continue to ramble, I'm going to mention various things, and we're going to see how does one subject relate to the next. But because all life is interconnected, there's always a connection. Sometimes the connection is hidden, and so we kind of miss it. It passes us by. One of the reasons it passes us by is because we've learned to use the wrong definitions on the words that we use. We hear Europeans use it, we hear it used in a sentence, and we think that's the definition of the word. Wrong. That is not the definition of the word. So you need to understand the definitions before you start using words beyond your awareness, which comes down to that's when people think they know something because they thought of it, but they don't really know it. But they think they know it because it was in their thought. But what they're speaking about is something that they don't know anything about, but speaking as if they do know about it, which is crazy, but is how the mind works. So I should say the brain works because those two words are used interchangeably a lot, and they shouldn't be. They represent two different things. The gray matter up in your head is your brain. Your mind is something that permeates your entire body. And so it's not really the same thing. It's with our mind that we get to connect to our spiritual selves and become more aware of our own existence, is what it is for us to be beings. And speaking on that one brings up the next subject, humans. How many times do we make a mistake and we say, I'm only human? Or you do the wrong thing, say, I'm only human. What does that mean? I'm only human. Have you limited a human being to something that only makes mistakes to learn from? As a human being and you came from a God, don't you recognize that you must be more than that? I mean, if you don't, then you don't see yourself more than that, and you keep making those same statements. So you say things as if, oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I don't know this. I don't know that. Guess what? You just told your body that you don't want to know it. So therefore, you are ignorant of it. The moment you said, I don't know, that's when you became ignorant of something that you probably need to know but don't know. And may never even learn because you've told yourself you don't know it, so therefore you don't want to learn it. So it's very important how we use our words. As a great teacher used to say, we know how to read the words, but we don't know the meaning of the words that we read. So we're using them incorrectly. It's such as using an affirmation. There's a correct way to use the affirmation. So understanding what the words mean so that you bring the words to life is what it comes down to. So everything is connected, and we must start looking at the big picture of things instead of just viewing things from our own little petty minds because we think that's where the existence of all things is, according to our little infant definition of things, because we haven't learned, but we think we have. Life experience does teach a lot of things, and it's very worthy because there are certain things, I don't give a damn how smart you are or think you are, you won't learn it until age allows you to learn it. So that is being thankful enough to live long enough to learn something beyond what you already know, and be grateful that we've lived those years instead of saying things like, oh, our time is short, or we got to do it now. Well, that's the energy that you're putting out there when you say those things. You're creating a negative affirmation without even realizing that you're doing it. Because we've placed these I'm only human definitions on ourselves. And as the beings we are beings of a miracle. And if we understand that we've traveled this path once before, then we should be aware of where it is we must go next. But there is nowhere to go next except into our Godhood understanding of life or existence. Realizing our own greatness is as children one day become adults. Except we're on a spiritual journey that takes us beyond that, but a very similar journey of growth. Once again, it goes into our understanding of things and our definition of things and how we're using the words that we use so we know what we're saying. So to create great things, we have to start talking about great things. We want something to be prosperous, then we have to start talking about prosperity. So we have to talk the language of that we want to create. Excuse me. And then we think that life is just about the existence and believing in God. Too many of us believe in a God that we can't even name. If that isn't mystical, I don't know the definition of mystical. To pray to gods that you don't know the name of and believe wholeheartedly that these gods will bring forth the fruits of life. Even for our everyday Christian, you are taught that without works, faith is dead. That God only helps those who help themselves. So what are we doing for ourselves? As we understand the Bible or attempt to understand the Bible, the one thing Pastor chicken biscuit has failed to say is that the Bible is a story about man. It's a story about you. When you get to Revelations, the revelation is about, have you acquired or learned the revelations of a God? That's what they mean. It's not the end of the Bible. It's the beginning of your understanding of self. So we've looked at it completely wrong. If we don't have this understanding of self, then our growth is limited, and we will never become that which we were designed to become. God didn't create a bunch of creatures to be sinners filled with faults. God's created creatures to, as us, to follow in their image, to learn to do the things that they do, to be creators that they have been creators, to be responsible for life as they have been responsible for life. With that responsibility comes a lot of gratitude and appreciation for what the world has offered or shown us that allows us to sustain ourselves and be who we need to be and who we are. So quit limiting yourselves, because the power that has limited you is the same power that will release you. It's just a matter of how you use it. And so we've been given the voice to create these affirmations by our words, which create vibration. Vibration is energy. When music makes you want to get up and dance, that's energy. Nobody told you to dance. You weren't made to dance. The music made you dance. And that's the body tapping into its own intelligence, which many times we forget that the body does have its own intelligence and it needs to be respected more than it is. But that's because it isn't understood. For example, when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to tell yourself to walk to the bathroom, stop, sit on the toilets, or stand over the toilet and use it. The body knows how to do that on its own. The body wakes you up so it can do what it needs to do. You don't wake it up. Wow. That's magnificent to me, that the body is such a great structure that it knows how to wake you up so business can be handled appropriately. And we take that for granted because it just does those things. So we take too much of life for granted. As our happiness exists when we can help others be happy as well as ourselves. That makes it a happy world. Not just your ass being happy don't make it a happy world. So you can't tell me, oh, it's about me being happy, and at the same time tell me that you believe in your nameless God. Who follows such a crazy religious attitude? I guess crazy people do. And there are many of us that are crazy. We just haven't been told yet, so we don't know it. Because it's always someone else that tells you you're crazy when you are. Then when you hear it, you don't want to accept it until you hear it more than once from those that you supposedly love and those opinions who you think highly of. And those opinions are usually coming from other crazy people. The crazy is teaching the crazy, which is the same as the blind teaching the blind, so to speak. As Spike Lee said in one of his movies, it's time to wake up. Matter of fact, let's say wake the hell up. That's how important it is. Time is passing us by, for time is the one thing that waits on no man. Time you can't get back. Once it's gone, it's gone. So move on from it and see what's next in your picture. It's just like people wanting to catch up on sleep. I still do not understand how one can catch up on sleep. You can get more sleep in, try to sleep a little later, but how do you catch it? You can't catch it. You can't catch sleep no more than you can catch a cold. But yet we use these phrases. Because if you can catch one, that means you can catch the other. So if you can catch a cold, that means you can catch good health. I would love to know where these things are being caught at so that I can be a part of catching these positive things as well, such as catching good health. Who in the hell wants to catch a cold? But we manifest it because we're bringing it forth and don't realize that we have the energy or the ability to do those type of things. We don't realize it because we think we're only human. And I say to you that That to me is blasphemy to your God, whatever God it is you believe in, that they created you to be only human, filled with flaws, mistakes, and a sinner. Who would create life from that point of view? But yet we want to define it, and that's like the son wanting to name the father. It doesn't happen. So quit trying to define that which is beyond you and accept the fact that there are things beyond you that you will never define. But we've allowed our intellect to rule more than our spirit. When the intellect rules more than the spirit, you will move further away from the God that you believe in and the understanding that you were to attain from this belief. So the intellect can get us in trouble. We talk about how smart people are. The question is, how connected are people to themselves? So I ask questions simply based on to see where the character of the individual is, to see where they are in tune with themselves at, what level that exists on. It's like with our health, we have the innate immune system and we have the adaptive immune system. The innate immune system works right away because it has obtained the memory to recognize certain things, and when it recognizes them, it gets right on it. The adaptive is doing just that, it's making adaptations to whatever the illness is so that they can deal with it through the immune system. So it's just how life goes. When you look out at nature and you see the branches on the tree, there's no set pattern. So why do we want to establish these patterns? Nature doesn't have a pattern. The tree just exists and does what it does. We want to come up with rules and regulations for everything, and that's not living. We want to define what a man should be. We want to define what a woman should be. Why? Why do we want to define things that are beyond us? Why do we want to define things that we have no control over? The only thing we should be defining is ourselves. Define that, and you will have learned a lot of it. Because as they say, a little goes a long way. Without the understanding of self, you don't understand much of anything except for the rote education that we've been taught in America. And that is, that 2 plus 2 is 4, and that the world is round. So you haven't really learned a lot. You don't know how the body connects to the spirit. And if you don't know that, then you're kind of missing the point of being on this journey of life, to get it from its highest point of view. And I understand that distractions have occurred from every point of view there is. Financial distractions ruin us. Sexual distractions ruin us. So we are constantly being bombarded by these distractions, and it throws us off the path. And somehow, some way, we must find our way back to the path so that our journey can still be prosperous. As we think about health, nature is God giving us a second chance. So the second chance still exists. You can take all the drugs in the world, nothing works, and God says nature is still there. There's your opportunity. Of course, you can exercise your free will and accept it or not. Unfortunately, many decide not to accept it. And then life does what it does. You're trying to live a healthy life by balancing with unhealthy things. And I'm trying to figure out, how does that even equate? Drugs are a poison. So I'm going to put a poison in my body to make me healthy. That shows a hell of a lot of intelligence. Since we want to be so intellectual. And no matter how many times people tell you this, emotionally, you won't let go. And that's all it is. You've become led by your emotions. And you can't allow your emotions to make the decisions for you. You're smarter than that. You're more worthy than that. So as we recognize our worth, we got to be acting accordingly to that worth. And it will show itself, and the things around us that we need will present themselves. Is that not what affirmations are for? For us to create the positive things that we need in our life. Many times I hear people will say, "This is something I'm never going to do. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do this." And I wonder, why are you focusing on what you're never going to do and not spending that energy on what it is that you need to do? Because when you do what it is that you need to do, you don't have to worry about what you won't do. It's already taken care of. You've already handled it by doing what you need to do. Y'all missing it. We're approaching it from what I refer to as the backdoor approach. And that's not a very positive approach. And it's not allowing us to acquire the things that we need to acquire while on this journey. So it's just one of many journeys we are to travel. So we are conscious of this journey. It's very tangible. So that makes us aware that life does exist. We breathe, we eat, we laugh, we joke, we cry. But that is not all there is to life. And why have we limited ourselves to that's all there is to life? And therefore, that is what allows us to make it about us, about you, the individual. What is a great thing to be an individual, right? Listen to the word. Individe the duo of yourself as you balance in the spiritual and physical world at the same time. Let's divide it since you're the individual and don't understand that you can't be one or the other. You can let your mind think you are one or the other, but you are the dual. So you must learn that you have to balance in both worlds, the spiritual world as well as the physical world. Which is the one we give the most time to? The physical world, of course, because that's where economics rule. And it has played too heavy of a part in our lives, unfortunately. And living in a capitalistic country, I realize and accept the fact that it ain't going nowhere. But simply because it ain't going nowhere doesn't mean that it's going to rule the decisions I make for my own life. Because you ain't taking none of that money, none of that jewelry with you. I don't see no flying ghosts with no necklaces on, no rings on, or anything of that nature. And you won't either. So if you are, you're having an illusion. Or a vision, maybe. But it ain't you. And so we're going in the wrong direction as we try to prosper and create things. It should always be about making things not just better for ourselves, but better for all those around. When everybody around you is doing well, can you imagine how good life is? You probably can't. There are so many haters that some of us don't want all of us to be doing well. They only want some of us to do well, which is themselves, and the rest to struggle. What a shame. And then Sunday morning, they'll call them up and say, "You gonna meet me at church today?" "Yeah, I'll be there, girl. I'll see you at church." Then Monday morning comes around and you says, "I can't stand that MF. They are so effed up. They need to die. They don't know nothing about God. They disrupted, blah, blah, blah." The question to be asked, have you ever done anything to help them be on a better path? Have you ever said anything to positive that could be inspiring for them to recognize the journey that they need to be on? No. So what gives you the right to feel that you can critique their journey if you've done nothing to enhance their journey? You are the hypocrite, not them. At least we know who they are. We know they're going to be the way they're going to be. It's you that we have to be scared of, because we don't know which way you're going to flip, because you're flipping according to what the person that you like most is doing, or the person that you like least is not doing. Brothers and sisters, wish prosperity on everyone. Don't waste the negative energy wishing anything other than that on anyone. For the growth of one is the growth of all. There's an old saying that for African people that says, if an African stumps his toe, there should be a black person in America saying, ouch. Um, so understand the significance of that, because some of y'all are going to try to take it literally, and y'all going to miss the whole point. Some of y'all are not going to realize there's an esoteric definition to all things, and it doesn't always exist in a book. Books are important. They preserve a lot of knowledge, and the knowledge that we've preserved is our base of what we've learned and keeps us focused on certain resources. The esoteric wisdom that we seek is innate knowledge, which means it already exists within you. Tap into it, utilize it, believe in it, accept it. Without that, then you'll never become even aware of it. And you'll keep running around saying, oh, God is good, God is good. And I'm trying to figure out, well, who is God bad to then? Because what's good, you have to have bad. Or is there a bad side to God that nobody wants to speak of? You already praying to a nameless God, so how much do you really know about this God that you have bought into? Not much more than what Reverend Chicken Biscuit has allowed you to know. Because he's the middleman, and there should never be a middleman between you and your God. The middleman is taught what to teach the people so that the people will follow. You have become the sheep, and you are following a false shepherd. You are designed to learn how to be captain of your own ship. So you have the choices to make, and sometimes they're hard cut choices because we don't want to deal with the blowback. As for I'm sure many of you know that many of these holidays we celebrate are the greatest lies ever told to man. And you know it, but you refuse to accept it because it's too emotional for you to accept. And if you do accept it, you'd rather not deal with the blowback from it, even though others know that they are blowing back on something that is false. For there's more information to prove the falsehood of many of the things that you believe in versus the truth of many of the things you believe in. Because many of your beliefs come from another man outside of yourself who says it came from God, who knows no more about God than what you do. That's like having a first grade teacher teaching you who knows no more about kindergarten than you do. So when you think about these things literally, you should be able to begin to see that they don't make sense, and we've fallen into a pattern that has trapped ourselves. So we are being trapped, and we're falling deeper and deeper into it. As they say, if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes your truth. And these lies have been told for thousands of years, far too long, and we've adopted them as our truth. No evidence, no facts, no nothing. When African people were being discussed from a physiological point of view, they said we didn't have proper sized brains. No evidence, no proof, but yet it was taught as the truth. They were saying that we were inferior. No evidence, no proof, but taught as the truth. So they teach us many things as the truth that aren't true. The system was never designed to teach the truth. Wake up. The system was designed to keep people ignorant because that's how you rule people. The rulers rule through maintaining your ignorance. They can't rule a bunch of awakened people, which is becoming a catchword now in the political arena, whether individuals are woke or not. So forget the catchword phrase about it, but wake up about life itself. Use your eyes to see and recognize what it is you see. If you don't believe, you believe in things that you don't see. So what is it you believe in when you start to see things? why you think these things are being shown to you, or why have you been allowed to see certain things. It's for your own growth, your own benefit, but if you ignore it, it just passes you by. Many times people say, same old stuff keep happening, same old stuff keep happening. That's because you keep doing the same old stuff. Once again, excuse me, you want something good from you doing the same old stuff. You want a person to change, but you want to treat them the same old way, the same old way. You keep treating them the same old way, and you're expecting something positive to come out of that. How ignorant can you be? I'm tempted to say, how stupid are you really? Ask yourself. You want something different to happen, do something different. You want people to act differently, treat people differently. Everyone you cannot treat the same. And you should be aware of that. People respond differently. They don't respond according to how you want them to respond. They have their own vibrations going on. They have their own issues going on. They got their own visions and mindsets set. So treat them accordingly. And if you call yourself being smart, then you understand that you catch more bees with honey. So treat people that way. And you can get that back from people. But when you want to treat them as if you the slave master and they the slave, you're not going to get the response you want. And we have a tendency to do that a lot among ourselves simply in the words that we use to you. The vibration of the word creates the movement in life. That's why you respond to music that you like, or good music. Respond because the vibration moves you. And that's what words and sound does. It moves us. So let's use words that move us in a positive direction. And then we can talk to people about moving in a positive direction. But if those aren't the words we're using and we expect people to be able to translate it into something positive, then we're fooling ourselves or we're just being plain stupid. So we got to start looking at the big picture and listen to things very carefully because a lot of answers are in the words being said. The Bible is filled of scriptures. That means scripts. So it's filled with a bunch of written scripts. By who? For what? Needs to be the question. If it's something that you believe in and you're going to follow your life from that pattern, then you should question everything about it before you commit your life of living to that, to those rules, those regulations, that philosophy, etc. So now you have a full understanding of what it is that you are following, or what it is that you have tied yourself into or accepted as a path to be part of your journey. Otherwise, the blind are leading the blind, and the ignorant are being able to be tricked to follow who's standing in front of them. And then we begin to praise these people standing in front of us as the greatest people ever walked the earth. They're the greatest damn tricksters that the earth has ever put out in front of us, is who they are. Because you can say they did this, they did that, but did they really bring any prosperity? Because the leaders have to bring prosperity to the village, not to you, the village. These are what leaders are designed to do and what the real leaders truly do. So don't never make it about you. It's about us. The greater one of us becomes, that makes it easier for the next one to become great. As we help each other, each one of us finds an easier path to find our own greatness. Now we sit in a room filled with great people. What a better place to be at. That comes down to accepting people where they're at. Everybody's not on the same page. Everybody's not on the same playing field. So accept people on the playing field that they're on according to how well they're doing on that field. It doesn't have to be the level that you're doing. If they can be prosperous on the level that they're on, that shows great promise for that person. So there's another saying that to me is very important because we've been taught from European education that, oh, no, you got to lift yourself up by the bootstraps and keep it going. The African village says we are all here to help you lift yourself up. We will all participate in your growth. Is that not what socializing is? Are we not supposed to be social beings? So do not social beings help and live for each other? Oh, I forgot. We got a bunch of individuals that exist out there. So the individuals are doing their own thing because it's about the individual. It's never been about the collective. Uh, what a shame. How smart we are. And you put all this together, what it says that we are so damn smart that all we show is our stupidity. So yeah, we're smart when it comes to being stupid. And that's the only thing we've been smart about. So, all you highly intellectual people, shut it down for a minute. Look at the other part of your existence. Um, that's not in the books. It's not in the diagnosis of mental disease. It's not in the medical books, the pathologies. This is something beyond the books. And you got to realize that you are beyond the books. The books cannot define who any of us is. And I refuse to accept the definition of myself by any book. That means another man has decided this is what they want to name me. Shut the front door. If that ain't BS, I don't know what is. You don't get to decide what label you're going to put on me, no more than I get to decide what label I'm going to put on you. Because some man decided to put the definition in the book. You know, kiss my blankety blank blank blank. Uh, so I said blankety blank 3 times, so you better put 3 words in there if you ain't figured that out. That's how serious I am about it. The definitions that come to us or come close to describing us are not written in anyone's books. The story lies here. The shallow grave in the east is where all that information is buried at. And that is for us to start discovering that we know more than we know. In some cases, we don't know everything that we think we know. And we are greater than just being, I'm just human. Oh my God. That saying disturbs me so much. Have you ever aspired to be more than human? Let me ask that question. Is there something more than being human? Something greater than just being human? That's us accepting ourselves being defined by someone outside of ourselves. Who says you don't have the right to say and define who you are? You know who says it? Somebody's book. Here we go back to the books again. Then there are those who don't want books. But books have what defined us our entire lives. Other than ancient times when we understand how to live our lives. We've forgotten how to live now. You know, got to hit the club. It's Friday night. Think about it. Why do I really have to hit the club? Because it's Friday night, and that dictates hit the club. It's celebration time, so we got to go to the party. What dictates that? That bothers me. We got to go to the party because they say it's celebration time. Can't we just celebrate? Let's say some prayer over our food and our drink and celebrate. We have locked ourselves into these mindsets that produce nothing positive from them. Oh, I feel bad I can't go to the club. Wow. Or I missed the dance. Wow. Tell me this. Have dances ever stopped? Not that I know of. Are clubs non existent? Not that I know of. That means the club is always going to be there and you can always dance. You put on your music and dance your ass off at home if it's that important to you or that meaningful to you, other than being locked into the mindset of what we feel obligated to do because it's that time of the year. Man, so much I want to say, but if I say it all, everyone will be offended by the time I'm done. Um, because this is more of a serious issue than we have realized. I don't want to offend you all, but some of you are going to be offended anyway, and I can live with that. And hopefully you can too, because you're going to have to be, because I've already said it. So it's out there. And hopefully you can move beyond it in a very positive way. Embrace it in a very positive way to help you move beyond it. It's when we accept our own darknesses is that growth can start to set in. And people say they do, but they really don't, because they don't want to hear you tell them about what it is, because they'll get offended. And Lord knows we don't want to offend nobody. We don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I tell you this, nature don't give a damn about your feelings. Nature do what nature does. Sometimes you're going to have your feelings hurt, and you better be strong enough to move about it, because as I said, nature don't give a damn, so you ain't going to do nothing but be destructive to yourself if you don't understand that. When we have the opportunity to be prosperous and healthy and loving to ourselves, let's do that. So as I get ready to conclude, the point is that it comes down to us using the right expression as we express sound to get the right vibrations to create the right action. One follows the other, and they all are in harmony, and they must all exist. So it is time to wind down. I've enjoyed my time with you all, and I hope you all have enjoyed your time with me. So in the spirit of fun, I say, I shake. Happy Kwanzaa.